Hey everyone, this is Tyler with Truffle Shuffle. Today we're going to be showing you how to make an unbelievably delicious steak recipe using our Rancher's steak seasoning. Okay, so this is a super easy one to do. We're going to be highlighting some of our beautiful butcher box grain-fed beef. You can do this with grass-fed too. This is a very quick little side, a succotash that we're going to make today that you can use for fish, meat, pork, beef, chicken, anything goes great. A little bit of homework for this one. I've had my potato baking in the oven for about an hour. So I'm gonna show you what mine look like in the oven right now. Just like this, they're nice, wrapped up, seasoned. So we're just gonna pop these guys back in the oven, leave them in there as we're finishing up the rest of this recipe, okay? The first thing we're gonna do is do all of our prep for our succotash. I've got my corn, shucked it, cleaned it. A little move you can do to get rid of the corn silks that's left is just wipe them down with a little damp kitchen towel. Takes them right off. Once we get them clean, we wanna go ahead and take the kernels off of our corn. I like to curl my fingers in and trim the kernels off. My corn kernels are clean. I got them on a little plate. Again, we do this to keep ourselves really nice and organized. We call it mise en place. Next up with our scallions, I'm just gonna line these up by the base and I'm just gonna trim the base. And then again, curl my fingers in and I'm gonna start cutting the light part of the scallion. So we're just cutting little rounds and we wanna go all the way up until we reach the kind of darker green part of the scallion. And we're gonna keep them both separate. Just slice them as thin as you can. As you can see, we have the lighter green part, darker green part. We're gonna keep them separate. The darker green part cooks very, very quickly. So we're just gonna use that to add in our succotash right at the very end. And then the lighter green part, we're just gonna cook it a little bit longer, just because it's a little bit more resilient than our dark green. So next up, I'm gonna go ahead and chop my sun-dried tomatoes. So with these, I just like to use a little fork. We just need a couple tablespoons. Sun-dried tomatoes for this recipe work better than fresh tomatoes because if we use fresh tomatoes, they would cook down into like a tomato sauce. So we're just gonna come through and just a rough cut. Doesn't have to be perfect at all. The last but certainly not the least prep item is our butcher box bacon over here. I'm just gonna cut this into little pieces. We call these lardons, but we're just giving it a quick little dice, right? And you can use as much or as little bacon here as you'd like. So now we're gonna make what we call our basting kit, which is our thyme, our crushed garlic, and about 2 tablespoons of butter. Our steaks have tempered. They've been at room temperature for about 15 minutes. I'm just gonna put a little bit of butter in there, about maybe half a tablespoon. We're gonna add our bacon. We're not necessarily trying to get the bacon super crispy. We just want it to release its fat. It's gonna give us that really nice flavor in our succotash. As you can see, the bacon's cooked. It doesn't need to be super crispy, but it just needs to be rendered. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add my corn into the pan. Along with a little sprinkle of our Rancher's steak seasoning. In here, I have my vinegar and my honey mixed together. So we're gonna go ahead and pop that into the pan. Along with our sun-dried tomatoes. So, that vinegar and honey creates what we call a gastrique, which is equal parts vinegar and sweetener. What it does is give us that beautiful sweet and sour. So I'm gonna cook this for about 30 seconds, just until it's cooked down and my corn is glazed. Grain-fed steaks over here, coming from Butcher Box. Make sure you season it really nicely on all sides. Make sure you get the edges. I'm using nice high heat oil. It's super important that it is smoking hot. Whenever you're laying anything into a hot pan that's smoking hot like this, always lay away from you, okay? So I got my steak over here, and you wanna hear a strong sizzle. And we're actually gonna flip them every 30 seconds, okay? This might sound strange to you if you're cooking steak like this for the first time, but this gives us a beautiful crust and that edge to edge, perfectly cooked temperature. All right, so now I'm gonna come in here and get the first flip. You can use a pair of tongs, you can use a spoon, either or. All right, I'll come in here and give it a flip. Beautiful. As we keep flipping these steaks, we're gonna build that sear onto our steaks, right? So the initial sear that we get is not gonna be the sear that we wind up with. At this point, we flipped our steaks over a good amount of times. People always ask, how do I know when my steak is done? You can use a meat thermometer. To be honest, I've never used one. You can use your hands, okay? So, if you connect your pinky to your thumb, that little muscle right there, that's what rare feels like, okay? So, my steaks right now are a little bit over rare. So when I add my ring finger, that's medium rare, okay? And you can literally do this and then feel your steak, right? Add your middle finger, that's medium. Add your index finger, medium well. Tight fist, well done. So whenever you're cooking meat, all you need to do is cook it to feel, right? So I can tell my steaks are ready. Me personally, because they're New York strip steaks, I'm just gonna hit this fat cap side a little bit, just to get a little bit of that fat rendered out, right? See, we got that nice rendering on there. So now I'm gonna get my basting kit into my pan, okay? My butter, my thyme, and my garlic. So pop them in, all right? Let it get melted down and delicious. And we're just gonna baste these steaks up a little bit. All right, we can put the thyme and garlic on top. And just spoon a little bit of that beautiful hot butter over the top. Just like we were talking about how important it is to temper the meat, to get the pan smoking hot, to season the meat, now we need to rest the meat. If the meat does not rest, like if I carved into these steaks right now, they wouldn't look properly cooked. And so again, a lot of times when people think they don't know how to cook meat, it's just they don't temper it, they don't rest the meat. The meat has to rest at least half as long as it cooked, okay? If you cut into it now, the juices are too hot and it flows out, but that's how we get that edge to edge temperature. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and finish up our succotash. So our succotash is cooked, but now we just wanna wilt in the spinach and the remaining scallion tops. And so this succotash is almost more like a warm salad. So we wanna heat it up just so we can hear it. Pop our spinach in. Along with our scallion tops. All right. And we just barely want to wilt this spinach. So we don't want to cook it down till it's Popeye spinach. We literally just want to cook it till it wilts down, and then fold the warm succotash on top of the spinach leaves at the very end. Just like that. I'm gonna add a pinch more rancher's steak seasoning. Succotash is done. Steaks have rested. I'm gonna grab my potatoes out of the oven. We got our beautiful cook on that steak. Look at that, edge to edge. We're gonna go down first with a little bit of our succotash. And you can plate this however you want. Me personally, I always like to show the meat cut side up so people can see how beautifully it has been cooked. All right, last but not least, with my potato, wanna open this guy up, steaming hot potato onto my plate. Nice pat of butter into each. And of course, one final sprinkle of our rancher's steak seasoning over the top. That's how you whip up our absolutely delicious New York strip steak with corn succotash, really featuring our rancher's steak seasoning there too for that pop of flavor.